Welcome back to the Haterade Live, Haterade Hour podcast. I am your host, Jordan, aka Haterade Cowboy, and thank you to everybody who is tuning in live and to everybody who is watching this in the future. And as always, before we get started, let's have fun, let's be kind to one another, let's keep it G-rated. So, I did not do a live stream in December, and that was kind of by design. I knew I was going to have a lot of work on my hands with the home theater tours, so I decided I was just going to focus on that. But apologies to anybody who was looking for a live stream in December. I figured I would just wait until January and get that started back up. So I'm looking at my phone because I want to make sure the stream is working. Give me 1 second so I can make sure that's working. Yep, looks like we're good. All right, so 2023 was an exceptional year for the channel. Hit some milestones. Pretty much the only milestone that I didn't hit that I wanted to hit was to hit 10,000 subscribers by December 31st. That didn't happen. We're not that far away. We're just over 7,000. So I'm hoping that I can hit that in the first quarter. So for all of you guys that are watching or that do watch that aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Help me reach my goal. We're averaging about 100,000 views per month, and we're only at 7,000 subscribers. So that's a pretty big discrepancy. I can't control when people subscribe. I don't know why people aren't subscribing more, or at least that I would like, but the channel's still growing and I still appreciate everybody. But yeah, so 2023 recap and milestones. So let's see, I reviewed not a crazy amount of products in 2023, but towards, I guess, the second half, towards the end of the year, I got more opportunities from companies. So companies are starting to send me more gear. Some of them are reaching out to me. I'm reaching out to some of them. And then I'm also working with PR representatives that are kind of like a middleman between the content creators and the companies. So, going to live shows has helped a lot because I met some people there, and then I've gotten contacts, and then they're like, hey, would you be willing to review this and that? So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so reviewed quite a lot of products in 2023. Just put up a video on my top 5. So that was a fun video to make. If you haven't watched that, go check that out. But yeah, we hit 1 million views for the channel in 2023 and hit a lot of new analytics. Some of the stuff that I've shared on YouTube. But good stuff, man. I appreciate everybody who is helping the channel to grow. So let's see here. So home theater channel updates. So not too many updates as far as anything that I've done or improved in the theater. I have done a little bit. I finally did paint one of the back walls. I guess one of the ones that you can see if you watch the videos in the background. Still need to do some more painting. Got some other stuff that I want to do aesthetically. But as far as products, so right now I have the Arendal 1723-2V. That is their flagship dual opposing 13-inch, 12 or 13-inch. Can't remember. But I have that I need to review. Actually, I already shot the B-roll for that. So I just need to script the review. Need to actually finish, reviewing it. But I have that. I have the Revon. I have a Revon player that I need to review. I haven't even opened it yet. But I have a Blu-ray player from them that I need to review. I have, let's see. So I did the review for the Stark Sound SW15P. And Stark Sound watched that video. And they were like, hey, we watched the video and we saw that you alluded to kind of having, reviewing 2 of them. They're like, if we send you a second one, would you be willing to, review it again with 2 subs? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. So they're sending me that one. Actually, so tomorrow, a second SW15P and their Fiera 8 channel or 8-channel amplifier, they're sending me that. That's going to get here tomorrow. And actually, props to you guys, because someone commented on that video, the SW15P video, and was like, hey, do you have any plans on reviewing their Fiera 8? And I was like, well, I hadn't asked for it, but I said I can, put it on my list. And they saw that comment and they were like, hey, we saw someone was asking for it. If we send that to you, will you review it? I was like, yeah, of course. Because actually, I was actually looking for another amplifier to replace my 2 Emotiva amps that are unbalanced. So that's perfect timing. And depending on, how well it works, which I don't see why it wouldn't, I may just keep it, offer to buy it. But yeah, I have a UPA 700 amplifier, and then I have their Basics A5, and those are unbalanced. They don't have any XLR connections, and I'm getting a ton of noise on every speaker that is not XLR. So right now my LCR is running off of the Emotiva XPA3 Gen 2, the XLRs, and I got no issues on that. Everything else I'm getting a ton of noise. So I'm assuming it's probably just that I need to go to XLR, because I was getting noise on the LCR before when I was just using my MRX as a pre-out. So they're sending me that one, and then I also requested, so I also have their SW15, their ported version. I have that one that's I just unboxed the other day. I need to review that one, and then I also asked them to send me a second one for that one as well. So they're sending me that one, a second one. I have one. The other one, I believe they're gonna send it to me next month because they don't have any in stock. But my goal is to run 4 of those, the SW15, run 4 of those up front stacked, 2 in one corner, 2 in the other corner, and then I'll have my PB4000 in the back. And since the SW15s are sealed, I'll just plug the ports on the PB4000, and then I still have I moved my PC2000, the older one, so not the one with the app control, but I have that one, the cylinder one, and that one I moved that to the back. I was going to sell it, but I think I might keep it because I'm getting a lot more bass in the back now. That one I may have to get a mini DSP for that one because it's ported, but yeah. See, we got a comment. So Derek says, wow, awesome milestone. Appreciate you, Derek. Yeah, Derek's been with me. I think he said he started watching the channel when I was like at 1,200 subscribers or something. So it's nice to see the people that have been watching for a while. But yeah, so I have that. So I need to review the Arendal subwoofer. I have the SW15, one of those. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do one. I'll probably review it, since I'll have to wait for the second one next month, but I'll probably review that one. And then when I get the second one, I'll do a review with 2 of them. And then, like I said, tomorrow, the SW15P and the Fiera 8 channel amplifier is going to be arriving via UPS. So I am super excited about that. Let's see, what else do I have? I still need to run Dirac on the Emotiva RMC1, so I want to make a video about that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have in-house to review. I think that's it. Beyond that, I don't really have any other products coming in yet, but I do have some stuff that I am going to be planning to do. So those are the home theater updates. Let's see, we got another comment. Derek says, do you still collect 4K Blu-rays and other physical media? Yes, I do. I will always be a huge supporter of 4K physical media as long as they exist. So I'm doing my part. Hopefully everybody else is doing their part. It is dying. And actually it's funny because there is a movie that's coming out, I think this month. I think it's a DC animated movie. Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, I believe. And actually, so my process is when a movie's coming out, I'll go to Best Buy and I'll put it in my cart, and then I'll just leave it there until the day of, and then I'll buy it and pick it up, do curbside. And I went to do that the other day, and I was on BestBuy.com, I think it was last week, and I was like, wait a minute, I can't purchase it from Best Buy anymore because they're not selling it. Like, I forgot, and I was like, oh man, like it kind of made me sad. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with either Amazon or Target or something. I don't really want to do Amazon just because there's more risk of the disc being damaged in transit, because those like UPS and whoever they use, they don't care about boxes. And I don't even think I've ever ordered a movie on Amazon. Maybe once or twice if it was something that's like you can't find in the store. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to look around and see what prices are the best. I may drive to, there's a Target maybe that's like about 20 minutes from me. But the thing was, it was so convenient with Best Buy. One, I used to work there when I graduated 20 years ago. And then two, it was on my way home. So I could just, like, at work, I could get on my phone, buy it, and then on my way home, just pick it up curbside. Didn't even have to go into the store. So, but yes, I am still collecting 4K Blu-ray. However, I did download my first movie on Kaleidoscape, which I'll talk about. So I think for the most part, I'm still going to buy most of my content on Blu-ray. But I do plan on buying more movies, at least some movies that right now that I don't have, that maybe are a little bit older, that I just never bought. And I'll just buy that on Kaleidoscape. Sammy Prescott Jr. says, nah, I'm done with physical media for the most part, unless it's the only way to get other physicals. Been dead to me since 2020. You got to keep it alive, man. Yeah, I mean, so that's the issue, is that like companies like Best Buy, if they don't see a profit, because they have to dedicate space in their stores for discs. And before, they used to have a huge section of discs, at Best Buy and other stores. But, if they don't feel it's worth it, they need to make money, and it's understandable. They're going to clear out that section and sell something and make room for something else, washing machines, TVs, whatever. Window, what's up, man? Says, I've never had a damaged 4K disc from Amazon, and if so, the return policy is great. Yes, their return policy is great. Their return policy is still the best that I've ever seen, and it's not even close. You can return anything on Amazon, like anything, and you have like sometimes up to like 2 or 3 months. So, yeah, I mean, even when I was buying them from Best Buy, they're still showing up on a truck. So, I mean, I've never really gotten like a damaged disc. Actually, the last disc that I bought, not the last one, but I bought the newest. What's the Jason Statham movie with the shark? I forget, the Megalodon, the Meg 2. That one just won't play. Like, it won't rip. When I try to rip it, and I've looked at the disc, it looks clean, but it won't rip. So I was like, I'll just watch it in the Blu-ray player. And I guess I got to the point on the disc where it doesn't, like, it starts having issues with ripping, because I got to that point in my Blu-ray player on my Oppo, and it just started like, it's almost like it was scratched. So maybe there is a scratch on it that I can't see, but I haven't been able to finish it because I can't, like, I want to watch the movie all the way through. I don't want to have to skip over a section and miss, part of the plot. But man, out of all the movies that I have, it's probably been less than 1% that I've gotten, a damaged disc anywhere, but it does happen. Sammy Prescott Jr. says, after moving with a large collection, I was done. Got a Kaleidoscape, and my only regret was not doing it sooner. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, man. If you've got like 5 or 10 discs, it's not a big deal. But if you've got like 300, 400, 500 like I do, I think I'm approaching 500. And this is over years. And the last couple of years, I haven't really bought a whole lot. During COVID, I didn't hardly buy any, just because there was nothing really coming out, But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. It's not that bad, but you got to buy the disc, and then you got to get a software to rip it. Then you rip it, you have to have storage, and as your library grows, you have to expand your storage. Unless you're, compressing it, which I don't do. I rip everything one to one because I want the highest quality on everything. But so you've got to keep the storage, and then you've got to find a way to do, Plex, MBs, do like it. It can be a lot of work, but I enjoy that. But it's totally understandable. And yeah, when I bought my first movie on Kaleidoscape, I was like, wow, it's that easy. Like, I just open my app, I go to the store, hit download. I don't even have to be at home, and it tells you how long it takes. It takes like 15 minutes. So that's a fair, argument. Kaleidoscape is great, but for the cost of the system, I could buy a lot of 4K Ultra HD discs. That's also fair. Kaleidoscape is not cheap at all. And it would be a fair argument to say that, for some people to say that maybe it costs too much for what it is. I wouldn't really argue with you there either. It is not cheap. It is very expensive. And really, when you get to, like, if you want to expand the storage, it becomes astronomical to expand the storage. So, I mean, I see both sides. Hello from Denmark. Hello, man. Thank you for watching live from Denmark. Appreciate the support. Windows says the problem with Amazon is that their drivers don't read the address they are delivering to. Yeah, that can be an issue. I actually, when I first moved into my house, man, this year's going to be 6 years already. That's crazy. I moved into my house in 2018, November 2018, and I had that issue probably for a good year and a half. It wasn't every time, but I'd say it was like 50-50. And I'll give some of that to being a new neighborhood. Sometimes the addresses aren't properly, in databases or whatever. But once the address was there, like, they have the address, and I got super frustrated because I would get an alert saying that my package was arrived, and I'm like, I didn't see anybody show up on my doorbell. I have a video doorbell. I didn't see anybody show up. And then a lot of times they would take a picture. I guess they're supposed to, which I appreciate. And the only reason I knew I didn't get it, one of the reasons, is they would take a picture and I would see the picture and I'm like, that's not my house. That's not my door. And so then I would be like, there was a couple times, actually quite a few times, I knew my next door neighbor had it because I knew that happened once before. So I could see the picture. I'm like, oh, they dropped it off of my neighbor. I'm like, why aren't you paying attention? What's also stupid is in my neighborhood, I have my address, and then I have my address and my street name. 3 streets over, there's a street with the exact same street name but lane. So mine is at the end of my street name, it's Court. There's another street with the exact same street that's lane with the exact same numbers, which is just stupid. I have no idea why they did that. So for like a year and a half, I would get my neighbor's mail down the street, or they would get my it's frustrating. Sometimes it still happens, but yeah, Amazon people, most of the times it's gotten better now. Every once in a while I'll have that issue where they just don't look at the address, but they're pretty good about it now. But one thing about the Amazon app is, because I went in there, I got frustrated, and you can put like comments, and I was like, make sure it's Court and not lane. And then I put, there's going to be a red car in the driveway. So that doesn't typically happen very much now. Sammy Prescott Jr. says, I moved with 825-ish discs, not including other media like games. It's a lot, man. And after about 150 to 200 movies, I just stopped keeping the cases, because I had a little like spinning disc stand thing, and once that filled up, I was like, man, I'm running out of room. That I was living at my parents, and then after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep the cases anymore, and I invested in like a little, I guess it's kind of like a briefcase that has the sleeves. Even that's full. I need to get another one. But excuse me. Yeah, I mean, there's arguments for and against on both sides. Again, I'm still going to support 4K disc for the foreseeable future. I'm not going to invest a whole lot into Kaleidoscape. I mean, I might buy some movies, maybe movies that I don't really care that much about, and I'll buy it. Or, like I said, back catalogs where maybe I have the DVD version and I want to upgrade, and it's cheaper on Kaleidoscape. But, yeah. And Tango says, ordered plenty of Blu-rays from Amazon and never got a damaged one that couldn't be played. I'm into DVDs and Blu-rays. I think my movie collection is around 1,400. Wow, that's a lot. That's almost triple what I am at. So, yeah, when you get to that size, man, like you gotta. I'm assuming you didn't say if you're ripping your content, but like at that point, I would definitely, if you're not already doing it, I would definitely rip my content. So that's another thing. Let's say you have 1,400 movies and you decide you want to start ripping your content. That's going to take a lot of time. So thankfully, I got started early when I started collecting my movies. And so now when I buy a movie, I only have to do one. But if you're just getting started into ripping and you've got a sizable library, it's going to take you quite a while. And then if you have to worry about hard drives. At some point, you're going to have to replace the hard drive. If the hard drive fails, you don't have a backup, which I don't, because I don't have the money to spend on equal amounts of backup storage. I think I have like 20 terabytes or something. I don't have the money to just have another 20 terabytes. Eventually, at some point, maybe. But that's another thing you have to worry about. If your hard drive fails, now you got to re-rip all that stuff all over again. Okay, let's see here. So I wanted to talk about Godzilla -1 because I didn't do a live stream in December, but I went to the movies in December, I think the first weekend. So that came out, I think December 1st. I went to the theaters the first weekend it came out. I don't really go to the movie theaters very much anymore. There's a select few that, I'm willing to go to. I think before that I saw The Flash, and I don't think I saw anything else before that. I didn't go to the movies during the pandemic. But anyways, I went to see that, and I wanted to talk about it because as much as I love the Godzilla and Kong movies, that whole universe, love those movies, I think Godzilla -1 might be the best Godzilla movie ever. Like it's good. And I had heard about it, and I remember I saw a trailer and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. But it's not your typical, it's not like the Godzilla and Kong movies. It's Japanese, and there are subtitles. So if you haven't seen it and you are planning on seeing it, just beware there are subtitles. I'm not a subtitle person. I hate subtitles. Only time I put them on at home is if it's like a movie where they're in a foreign, like they're in England or something, and their accents are really harsh and I can't understand it. Even then, I don't like it because I end up focusing on the text at the bottom of the screen, and then I'm trying to look at see what's happening. So this one it's not so bad. But now that I've seen it, hopefully when they release the Blu-ray, hopefully they'll have like a dubbed version. I don't care if it's dubbed. I've already seen it. I already know what's going to happen, but I just don't want to read subtitles. But that movie is awesome. If you guys have seen it, let me know down in the comments what you guys think, because it's very different. So one thing that's very apparent about this movie is Godzilla is not he's not a good guy in this movie. Like the other movies with Kong, like sometimes he's bad, but then he tries to help. Like, nah. In Godzilla -1, Godzilla is pure evil. Like there is no redeeming him. He is out to get the people of Japan. Like he's bad, and it's kind of funny. Not funny, but it's kind of funny. And the movie's been out for like a month and a half, so if you haven't seen it, sorry, spoilers. But there's a scene where he does his atomic breath, which is way more potent in this movie. But there's a scene where he does his atomic breath, and like when he uses his atomic breath in this movie, there's a mushroom cloud afterwards. Like it's straight up nuclear. Like it destroys everything in its path for miles. But there's a scene where he uses it, and they cut away to something else, and they cut back to him, and he's basically like, you see him from behind. He's just kind of chilling there, like just admiring his mushroom cloud. Like, wow, this dude is not good at all. But it's a different type of movie because they focus more on the humans, and there's a couple main characters, and you kind of see that their struggle because it's right after World War, or one of the wars. So it's Godzilla -1 because after the war, they're already devastated. They're at ground zero, and then Godzilla comes in, so now they're like negative, so -1. But I'd say Godzilla's almost kind of like he's a main character, but he's almost not the main character. He's almost kind of like a second or third character, but he's still a main character. Like you have to watch it to see it, or you have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. But I love that movie, man. I didn't expect to love it as much as I would, but I can't wait for that movie to come out on Blu-ray. And one of the most fascinating things about that movie is I think they only had a budget of like $15 million, and you can't tell. There's a couple of CG moments or a couple of scenes where there's a helicopter. At least I could tell there was a helicopter flying, and you were like, "Oh wow, that's like a tiny prop helicopter. Like it's clear, it's it's a fake helicopter." And then there was one other time when there was a little bit spotty CG, but other than that, they did a fantastic job with a $15 million budget. So I love that movie. I think that's my favorite Godzilla so far. We got some more comments. Let's see. You did a review on the Zedu, and I had a discussion with my wife about. She has a lot of experience in the IT field. She shot that down after explaining the cons of it. Yeah, I remember you posted that comment. So I'm interested what the cons are. I mean, it's definitely, I won't say it's perfect. Like, there's definitely times when I have some issues with it, but it's very, very few. I'd say 97% of the time it works flawless. But I love the Zedu. And now that Zapedi is out, I mean, you have the Arvolution, but I feel like Zedu is still pretty much, at least to me, like the number one choice to go to. But I'm curious as to what cons she has. But yeah, let me know if you've watched Godzilla -1, because that for me, like I said, I only went to the movie theater a couple times, so I didn't really see a whole lot of new movies. But for me, that was the movie of the year. Like, that was my favorite movie. So, speaking of the Kaleidoscape that I mentioned earlier, I downloaded my first movie, which happened to be Gran Turismo. And I was like, man, do I want to buy this one on physical media, or do I want this to be my first download? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to download it on Kaleidoscape. Let me just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. That movie is really good. One, it's based on a true story. So it's actually kind of insane that you have these gamers that went from gaming on a simulator to straight up racing, and were successful. But I think the most impressive thing about that movie is the audio, primarily the bass. The bass on that movie is thumping. Like, it's really, really good, really clean, really tight, really deep. Like the first time, you know, they show like one of the race cars, I was like, man, that's hitting pretty hard. And then pretty much throughout the whole movie, anytime there's any like racing scenes, it's just like insane amounts of bass, really good bass. Like, I can't wait to dial in my room and get more subs, because that movie is really cool. But that movie is really, I might start using that a couple of scenes for testing like subwoofers, because it's pretty good. I really like the soundtrack of Gran Turismo. Wendell says, I've seen it. It was good enough for me to add to my library. Are you talking about Gran Turismo, or are you talking about Godzilla Minus One? Let's see here. Comments. Yeah. So, let's see. What else? So, Godzilla Minus One, Gran Turismo. So, home theater tours. So, the response to the home theater tours has been very, very positive. I don't think anybody... Actually, there's been one comment. So, the first video that I posted was the JTR video, the home theater tour. And when I posted that one, someone commented and was like, I'm trying to remember what they said. They said, you've left... Oh, they said, sorry, you left my price range a long time ago, and I don't think you're coming back anytime soon. Unsubscribe. And I'm like, okay. So I'm assuming he's talking about the home theater tours and the fact that I've been upgrading my speakers to like Arndal and like the RMC1 and stuff, but I just don't really understand that mentality. Like, if you have... I don't know anybody that doesn't want to upgrade their gear, unless you've already reached in-game status with your gear, and that's subjective to each person. Who doesn't want to upgrade? And why would you want to stay stagnant? Like, I rocked the same equipment, speakers, other than receivers. I had the same speakers, hodgepodge speakers, entry level, like straight up cheap speakers, for 10 plus years. And I always wanted to upgrade. My plan was to always upgrade. I didn't have the means to. I didn't have the funds. I didn't have access to companies like I do now with YouTube. I didn't have a YouTube channel. And I always wanted to upgrade. And I was watching Shane Lee. I was watching Youth Man. I was watching all the home theater tours. And not once did I ever think, you know what? I can't afford any of this stuff. I'm not watching these channels. Like, I don't understand why that would make you not watch someone's channel. Like, I want to see all of it. I want to see the high end. I want to see the budget friendly and the stuff in between. And that's why I wanted to do the home theater tours, because there's so much out there. There's so many different setups. And I wanted to share that because I enjoy watching them on Youth Man's channel. I enjoy watching them on, other channels. And yeah, that was just weird to me. I mean, that's like saying I've been at my job for 10 years making the same amount of money, and now my boss wants to give me a raise. Nah, I quit. How dare you? Like, it's just weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one that's weird, but I was just like, why would that make you want to like unsubscribe for someone's channel? But I don't know. But yeah, so the home theater tours, people are liking them. And then I posted the video that I wanted to do some more here locally, because traveling does get expensive, and I'm doing all of this on my dime, on my budget. Like, no one's sponsoring this. I am trying to get some sponsors, and I've had a couple of people ask me to come. Like, I think somebody wanted me to come to Chicago. Somebody wanted me to come to another part of the country. And I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen right now unless I get some sponsors, because that ain't cheap. I got to pay for a hotel. I got to pay for a flight. I got to pay for food while I'm there. I got to pay for probably like a rental car or Uber or something to get around. And I mean, even driving to Dallas wasn't cheap. I had to spend, it was far cheaper than, flying and traveling somewhere, but I still had to pay my own gas. I still had to drive around to people's houses that was about an hour apart. So I figured, locally is a lot more manageable. It's not going to take much of a hit to my pocket. And, I enjoy filming, and I get a chance to experience some setups that I would probably never get a chance to experience. So then I have that. I can say, oh yeah, I've seen JTR, I've seen, Perlison, I've seen, Klipsch or whatever. But yeah, so actually today, earlier, a few hours ago, I got my first, not my first, someone else did reach out to me, but their home theater's not ready yet. But someone did email me and was like, hey, I'm in Katy, Texas, and they sent me some pictures, and they're like, would you be interested in filming it? Checked it out. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So supposed to do that on the 27th of this month. So not in a couple weeks, on a Saturday. So I'm super excited about that. And actually, he sent me some pictures. I wanted to share a couple of them with you just to give you an idea. Oh, so what's funny about that comment that I mentioned earlier is right after that person left that comment, they were like, you left my budget a long time ago, I'm unsubscribing. Literally the very next video that I was going to post was the budget-friendly home theater with Klipsch. So I'm like, well, now you're just missing out, because like the next video I'm posting, actually the next two that I was posting was budget-friendly. You had the Klipsch, and then even more budget-friendly was Vern. And this home theater tour that I'm going to be shooting is also budget-friendly. The homeowner called it that himself. He said it was budget-friendly. So let me share this. I don't know what speakers. These look like prime elevation speakers. Let me hide these. Does look like prime elevation speakers. I don't know. He sent me the list. I need to go back and look at the list. But I just wanted to share a couple of pictures. So this looks really cool. Like I said, he himself, the homeowner, actually he said it's going to be him and his wife. He said he's very fortunate to have a wife that is just as supportive and loves the hobby. So that's going to be cool, because I've never, like, most of the time women don't care. Like, they're not even in the not even anywhere in the vicinity of the home theater tour. So that'll be cool to get a woman's perspective on, the hobby. So that's, he sent me, I think, like 19 pictures. I'm just going to share a few of them. So that's his seating. So that's obviously Klipsch. His towers are obviously Klipsch. I zoomed in. So there's another picture that he has the grill on. These are Shoe Research subwoofers. So that'll be a first. I actually had two. I still have one of them. I have a Shoe Research. I have an 8-inch that's in my living room. And then I had a 12-inch for quite a while. I sold that one. Excuse me. I sold that one last year. But so that's his front. He's obviously got a Star Wars themed theater, which is really cool. I guess that's his dog. Looks like he's got some homemade masking panels there. And then, so yeah, so there's the grills on the subwoofers. So he's got Shoe subwoofers. I think it's still, a lot of people still don't really know about Shoe subwoofers. They haven't come out with anything new like in a long time. So that's probably why most people don't know about them. But I loved Shoe. Like I said, I still have the first one that I ever bought, the 8-inch. That thing hits pretty hard. I have it in my living room in a humongous open area, and it still hits pretty good. And the 12-inch that I had, I think it was the VTF4 MK2 12-inch sub. That thing hit really hard. And I was kind of sad when I sold it, but I was like, you know what? I want to upgrade to some bigger drivers, so I sold it. Looks like he's got an older JVC. So again, the homeowner said this is a budget setup, what he called a budget setup. He said he did everything himself. So I'm looking forward to filming that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I really like the way that his room looks. He did a really good job with the Star Wars and everything. The only thing I would say is maybe you might get some reflections off of that stuff, but I mean, his walls are black, so it's probably pretty dark in there. So yeah, I'll be doing that one in a couple weeks. And let me remove this. And then I have another one. I think he said he's waiting on some subwoofers, some infrasonic subwoofers, but I have another one that I'll be filming at some point. He was actually the first person that reached out to me after I made that video. He's got I I think he's got clips set up, but he's got a bunch of subs in there. But he did everything himself. I think he's got a post on ABS forum or something like that he sent me a link to. It looks pretty cool. So Window was talking about Godzilla -1. Yeah, I can't wait for that to come out on Blu-ray. I went and saw it and told my friends about it, and like the next day or day two, they went and saw it, and they were like, "Dude, this is awesome!" Like, I hope they get as much recognition as they can, and hopefully, if you watched it, it looks like there's probably going to be another one, and hopefully they get an even bigger budget, which I guess they don't really need to. The fact that they were able to make this movie on like a $15 million budget, but I hope it helps them to get an even bigger budget to make it even more, to expand, the movie. But man, the story is just really, really good. Sammy Prescott Jr. says, I always want to upgrade. LOL. Going to upgrade a few things this year, and I have what I consider pretty high. Yeah, I don't understand the thought process behind, hey, I've been watching your channel and you upgraded, or you're showing these, what I consider high-end home theaters. Like, I don't want to watch anymore. Like, that's kind of messed up. Like, shouldn't you want people, like, shouldn't you be happy for people when they upgrade, or that they're showing different budgets? Like, I'll never understand that. And I don't want anyone to unsubscribe from my channel, but it's not like I'm doing anything inappropriate or that I'm being a jerk about it. I'm showing the stuff that I would want to see. And yeah, I'm not going to, I don't think I've ever said on my channel that I was planning on just keeping the same gear. Like, Arendelle, yeah, that's in-game for me. And like I said, in-game for everyone is going to be subjective. Everybody has different types, different tastes. They like different things. And for me, Arendelle is my in-game. Like, I don't plan on upgrading those speakers, at least for next 20, 30 years. Like, unless maybe they come out with something, but like, I'm happy. There's other stuff that I want to upgrade, but like, who doesn't, unless you've reached in-game and you don't have a desire to upgrade, who doesn't want to upgrade? And why would you like not support them? I don't know. Bodie McBoatface says, that name, by the way, just cracks me up. I like that name. Bodie McBoatface. And is that Back to the Future? I don't remember where that's from. I don't understand the not watching because of the price range. I'm not buying $500,000 speakers, but I'll watch. Right. Exactly. That was my thing too. I'm like, I don't own this stuff. I'm just showing what other people have. The only thing that I can think of is maybe it makes them feel jealous that they don't have it, and so they're like, I'm not watching. But it's almost like, it almost makes me feel like I don't want someone else to have better than what I have. Me personally, I don't care. Like, I don't have the money to buy half of the stuff that I toured, but that doesn't affect me personally. I'm not losing sleep over it. Like, man, I wish I had that clip. I wish I had, like, I don't care. I care because I want to see it and I like watching it. I mean, Youth Man's he's shown some home theater tours that Star Wars, that crazy one, that's $1 million. Man, if I had the option to, yeah, I would take that. I mean, I maybe wouldn't have a Star Wars themed. I like Star Wars, but not that much. But I would like to have a bigger room. I like to have a higher ceiling. I like to have a wider room. I mean, there's stuff that I would love to have. I would like to have a Trinov, but I don't watch someone else's content and like, man, that person has a Trinov. I don't have it, so I'm not going to watch it. It's just really weird. Fred says, what's up? What's up, Ryan? Is this the place to be? I hope so. If you're watching this, then I would say yes, and I thank you for watching live. Ryan Charpentier. And actually, Ryan Charpentier is upgrading all his gear to Ascendo. I don't want to watch you guys anymore. Now, man, Ryan's going all out. Like, I can't wait to see a tour of his new setup. It's gonna be sick. I mean, you got that 50. Like, I've seen the 50-inch. I've heard the 50-inch. In fact, I helped move the 50-inch into Chris that Home Theaters dude's home. He doesn't have it anymore, but I helped him move it into his home. It took hours, and it was a pain. But yeah, having a Skindo set up, like just seeing the render of what your room is gonna look like, I can't wait to see what that's gonna be like, man. So props to you, man. That's gonna be really cool to have that space. Bodie McBoatface. Personally, I think it's just a way to troll. You're probably right. And like I said, I don't want anybody to unsubscribe from my channel, but I feel like that was unwarranted. I'm not mad. Like, hey, whatever, you do you. I just don't understand the thought process. I've never watched anything on YouTube that made me upset or made me think, hey, I can't have this, or I expect you to have this price range, or if you ever review anything out of this price range, I'm just not going to watch anymore. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but that's his choice. So CES, just today, I believe today was the last day. Didn't get to go this year. I went last year for the first time. Super fun experience. I actually was registered to go this year, registered a couple months ago, and I actually had a hotel reserved. I didn't pay for it. I just had it reserved, and I was going to pay, once I got there. But some other stuff came up financially, and I was like, you know what? It probably wouldn't be smart for me to go, because it's not cheap. Like I said, you've got to pay for a hotel, you've got to pay for travel, you got to pay for food while you're there, and you got to pay for a way to get around. So I was like, let me be responsible and just sit out the CES. I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of fear missing out when I was watching all the videos. I know there's gonna be a lot more coming out, but I am glad that I got to go. So when I see the videos, I know what goes on behind, because CES is a madhouse. It's wild. I've been to CES, I've been to CEDIA, I've been to Expona, and a couple other little shows. CES is just a different beast, man. Like, it's massive. So unfortunately, I didn't get to go this year, but I was keeping up with most of the kind of like major stuff that happened, and I did get to watch the press event for Hisense. So a couple things. SVS has some new speakers. That's not supposed to be a ticker. That's supposed to be... So yeah, so SVS has some new speakers. Let me go ahead and share them. You probably have seen them by now, but let me go ahead and share my share screen. Chrome tab. Yep. So SVS has some new speakers, the SVS Ultra Evolution loudspeakers, with a completely brand new design. I'm going to have to get used to this, to the design, just because it's so different from what they've had before. To me, these resemble, has a little bit of a focal flavor to it with the design. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this, because you've probably already seen the videos. There's been a couple videos out that people have done. But SVS has got some new speakers. So they've got their Ultra Evolution Pinnacles, which is their largest floor standing speaker, which I think is this one here. That's going to be $5,000 a pair. The Titan midsize, which is this one, is going to be $4,000 a pair. And then their Ultra Evolution Tower, which is their smallest, is going to be $3,000 a pair. And what's interesting about these is they have 2 drivers on the back and 2 ports. And I believe it's like that for all the towers. And then they have some bookshelf speakers for $12.99 a pair, nano stand mounts for $8.99, or I guess that are stand mounted, $8.99 a pair. Their elevation, can't talk, $8.99 a pair, and then there's Center, which is $8.99 a pair. I'm not gonna play this video because it's someone else's YouTube channel. I'll probably get hit for copyright, but I just kind of wanted to briefly talk about that. So there's another picture. Props to SVS, and man, if these speakers are any indication of their subwoofers, because I think their flagship towers has 8-inch, so quad 8-inch woofers. So you've got 2 on the front, 2 in the back. Those things are going to probably hit like really, really hard. And the pricing's not like ridiculous. I don't know what the pricing is compared to the previous version, but it's not wild. But they've got this diamond coated tweeter, which I don't know what that sounds like, but it sounds like it's fancy. So dual 5.5-inch, 5.25-inch glass fiber composite mid-range drivers. And I guess this is on their, I don't know if this is on their mid or their lower end. Then you've got quad 8-inch woofers. So yeah, so looks like that's the flagship. Quad 8-inch woofers. So that's pretty interesting. So I talked to SVS at, I don't know if there's any other, oh, there's the bookshelf. So I don't know why they didn't offer a matte black version. I don't like gloss. I definitely don't like the white. I know people like the white and the gloss, but if you're putting this in a home theater, that's just going to give off all kinds of reflections. I don't know why they didn't have an option for matte. Maybe they will in the future. I don't know. So there's the center channel. So it's also kind of angled. And it looks like there's just one center channel. I don't think that there's another. So there's the nano. So interesting design. But there's a couple videos. There's actually quite a few videos out where they describe, why they went with that design. So there's all the speakers there. What do you guys think about the SVS speakers? Hopefully, maybe at some point I can get some on the channel to review. I think Shane said he's getting some. Oh, let's check the comments here. Wendell says, if people have the cash for getting that type of gear, more power to them. Every home theater enthusiast buys the gear necessary for their theater room. Everyone has a budget. I 100% agree. Even if you're rich, you still have a budget. There's still a line where you're like, you know what, that's I'm not willing to do that. Or maybe somebody says, hey, I want to put 50% of my money towards speakers and subwoofers, and then, maybe get like a receiver or maybe like a cheaper processor. Like, everyone has a budget, man. So yeah. Scott Newby, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Scott Newby also has a YouTube channel where he does live. I don't know if he's doing, I think he's just he just does like a podcast. So go check him out. He's got his that he does. Ryan Charpentier says, seems too much like DefTech. I haven't had any experience with DefTech. I don't think I've heard of DefTech at all. I know they've been at some of the shows. No, I take that back. I did hear DefTech at Expona, I believe, which Ryan was there. But I don't think I heard them for very much or for very long. And I wonder if they're all active or if the rears. Yeah, I think I saw someone else is asking that question on one of the videos. I'm kind of curious on that as well. I don't think that they've released that information in the videos that I've seen so far. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since they've had a refresh or, introduced a new speaker line. So it's going to be interesting to see if they are better than the previous version. Like I said, I've never heard their speakers. I have 2 of their subs and I love them. So if they make their speakers, and if it's any indication from, their subwoofers, because their subwoofers are built like a tank, even all the way down to their micro subs. I haven't heard the micro subs, but I've heard that they are like mind blowing as to what they can output for their size. So I'm expecting that their speakers to be legit, but I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Scott Newby says, I had some DefTechs Ryan, that we're very close to those, so I can see what you're saying. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. I thought they mentioned a black ash. Actually, you know what? I do remember hearing that in someone's video, but I haven't seen them yet. But yeah, because actually the subwoofer, the PP4000 that I have that I bought when they sent it to me and I requested one, I forgot to ask for the matte one, and they sent me the gloss one. And I was like, oh, why did they send me gloss? But it's in the back, and it's probably going to stay there, so it's not an issue as far as like reflecting onto the screen. But I just don't know why. Me personally, I would never have anything that's glossy in my theater ever, just because it's a huge magnet for reflections. But to each their own. If that's what you like, then that's what you like. We'll be going to ABT in Chicago to listen to them. They're supposed to have them soon. Are you going to, what is ABT? Are you talking about Expona? What's that? But cool, man. I'm interested to see what you think about them. If they sound great, I'm in on the look. On the look. I would say, so I know Shane Lee mentioned that the other day or yesterday in his video, his live stream. He was saying that that's like the first thing that he looks for when he purchases a speaker is how it looks. I'd say I'm 50-50 on that. Like, I actually like the way the Arndals look, but if the speaker sounds great, I think I would still purchase it even if I didn't really care for the. I mean, I do care about aesthetics, but I don't think I care about them so much to where if they sound really good, I wouldn't buy them just because of how they look. But I don't know. I've never been in that situation. Let's see. Ryan says, things like diamond coated makes me go, blah. Why is that, Ryan? I've never heard anything diamond coated, so I don't know how that compares to something like the beryllium tweeters, which I have heard on Focal. Those are pristine. I like the beryllium tweeters. But yeah, why do they make you regurgitate? Ryan says, let me know what you think. Hopefully they have them next to the old Ultra. Yeah, and they said that I guess this is going to replace the Ultras, so I would think it would be smart to keep the Ultras and just knock the price down and have more people have more access for more people to buy your product, but I don't know. It sounds like they're replacing them, so they might not be much longer. But yeah, A/B comparison would be nice. I like the gloss, but for my music room and my living room theater. Yeah, I mean, if you're a true home theater enthusiast, you probably don't like gloss. I mean, like, it looks nice, it looks pretty. It's just not going to do you any favors with reflections. Scott Newby says, I got Kat a diamond coated ring once. Fancy. I have the Ultra bookshelves, not bad, but I have to tone down the highs a bit. Interesting. Yeah, again, I've never heard their SVS speakers. I know a lot of people love them, and a lot of people really love their prime elevation speakers. Those are really popular. I wish I didn't have tinnitus in ears with a combined age of 112, then I'd appreciate my speakers a lot more. That's funny. What speakers do you got, man? Yeah, it sucks. As you get older, your hearing starts to not be so forgiving with speakers that aren't, I guess, maybe designed as good. If they're kind of harsh on the higher end. But I don't know how old you actually are. Cut the sheen as much as possible. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think it's good for them to offer more finishes just because as a company, it just makes sense to offer because, people like that sort of thing. But for home theater, I would never have gloss. ABT is a retailer in Chicago. Ah, okay. That makes sense. I was like, is that a show? I've never heard of that. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I think they said, what, first quarter? Or like March or April, I think they're going to be available. At least some of the speakers. I think they said there's maybe the center channel or something that's not going to be available right at launch. But I think they said like March or April they should be available. Bodie McBoatface says, Scott Newby is in Chicago. I'm 2.5 hours away in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Diamond coated just feels like marketing speak to me. Interesting. Yeah, I don't see too many speaker manufacturers making speakers that are diamond. I was actually surprised when they said that. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm not an engineer. I don't design speakers. I can't speak as to like if diamond coated actually makes it sound better or improves the quality. I mean, I know they have a whole thing. Like when I filmed the Vocal booth at M-Wave, like the guy was talking about beryllium, and he was talking about, like how hard it is to actually manufacture just the tweeter with, beryllium. And it makes sense, like the way that he described it. But as far as diamond, like, I don't know. I am saying I'm good with the look, but they have to pass the sound test. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so they can't just look good, basically what you're saying. They or they can't just look bad. Like if you don't care for how they look, they have to pass the sound test. So I think I'm kind of the same way. Like maybe, I mean, when I had my Post speakers, they were, like I said, they were cheap. They were cheap Post speakers. That was when I was just first getting started. I didn't know anything about how other speakers sound. I didn't know anything. I just was getting into the hobby. I didn't care for the way they looked. They looked ugly. They were like this brown veneer. I don't even know if they were brown, but they were cheap. And that was when I was just getting started, and I was happy with it. But yeah, I think if I found speakers that sounded really, really good, and I was like, I don't really care for how these look that much, I think I would still buy them just because they sound good. I got SVS Ultra Towers. They sound good. Yeah, I mean, everyone that has them pretty much loves them. And again, they started out with their subs. Their subs are, I love their subs. I've never heard their towers, but everyone seems to love the SVS speakers. Haterade Cowboy Cinema SVS speakers were at M1. Yeah, they were. So actually, that was the one time. No, I'll take that back. I apologize. I lied. I have heard their speakers. I heard them at Expona. I forgot about that. I did hear their speakers, but they didn't have their like top of the line speakers. I forget what speakers they were running at Expona. But that room did sound good. That room was thumping. They were like the only speaker manufacturer there that had like a home theater set up at like basically a 2-channel show. So I have heard them. I just haven't heard their top of the line towers. I don't remember what speakers they were running there. But yes, they were at M-Wave. That was like the one room that I missed because I always try to go talk to those guys when I see them, Nick and Larry. But for some reason, somehow I missed that room. I think I went in there one time and they were like gone at lunch or something like that. Mine would be considered garbage probably. Mission M74s, they're old, but I like the sound back in the day. I mean, like I said, everyone's tastes are subjective. Like, I've never heard of Missions. I mean, I've never heard them. I've heard of them. I've just never heard them. There's a lot of stuff I haven't heard. I have heard a lot more now that I've been going to, like, Cedia and CES and M-Wave and Expo and stuff like that. But I haven't heard everything. Watching from 2 different accounts, it's all about the views. Haha, appreciate you, man. That's the way to do it. You got to cheat the system. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. So, I wanted to also mention too about the the podcast that I did last week. So those guys will be back in April. I think right now we're going to stick to doing it like once a quarter because everybody there pretty much has families, they've got kids, and it's busy. I only do live streams once a month just because that's pretty much what I can handle. I could probably do two, but it's just a lot. Like I do have a day job Monday through Friday, 7 to 4, and then I'm doing the YouTube stuff and filming, and so I just kind of stick to once a month. But I want to have those guys back on a couple times a year, and I think we agreed that once a quarter would probably be pretty good for everybody. So they'll be back in April. I think it's April 5th. And Doyle, the very first home theater tour, the one that started it off, and I have to thank him a lot because he's the one that reached out to me, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have done any of this. But he was supposed to join us last week, but he was out of the country. So he should be joining us next time in April. So those guys will be back, and we'll have Doyle on. So it's going to be 6 of us. But yeah. But thank you for watching, Scott. I found your channel a couple weeks back with the video of the great old boy with the Cinerama screen. Really like your channel. 1 a.m. here in UK, so I'm off now, but newly subscribed. Hey man, appreciate that. 1 a.m. Wow. Thank you for staying up late to watch the. I mean, I'm sure you didn't stay up because of me, but I appreciate you, taking that time out. 1 a.m. I don't know if I would wake up or stay up to 1 a.m., but I greatly appreciate it. I thank you for supporting the channel, for subscribing. Yeah, you're talking about Vern with the Cinerama screen. I think that video has resonated with a lot of people. It doesn't have as much views as everyone else because, it's a different type of theater, and I think a lot of people don't know about Cinerama. I didn't know about Cinerama. I was like, what are you talking about when he first told me? But when he started, describing it to me, I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So I appreciate you, man. Mission's a pretty popular brand here in the UK. Yeah, like I said, I've heard the name before. I don't know anything about them, but I'll have to look that up. I also have Emotiva T1 Plus speakers. Hideous, but I like the way they sound. My Kef R3 Metas Indigo Blue look great and are my favorite sounding speakers. Yeah, I believe Emotiva is coming out with some new speakers as well. Yeah, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the way the Emotiva speakers look, but I mean, I love what they're doing over there. I love their amps. I have 3 of them. Probably going to be getting rid of 2 just because it's time to upgrade to something with XLR. But I'll always support Emotiva. They make some good stuff over there. And Kef's, did I hear Kef? I'm trying to remember if I heard Kef at Exponent or not. I don't remember. Oh no, did they have? I think they have Kef at M-Wave, one of the M-Wave. No, that was Martin Logan. So I'm not sure if I've heard Kef yet, but I know a lot of people love Kef as well. The Kefs are in my 2-channel room, and the Emotivas are in my theater. Nice. Have you heard any updates on the Arvolution software for use on the old Zappiti devices? So actually, someone commented on my video yesterday or the day before and said that one of the videos that I posted, and that's the only person I've heard so far that has commented, but they said that it's kind of slow, and they said that it sounded like they weren't too happy with it. Like, I think it's got some promise, but they said it's kind of slow, and there were some features missing. I need to go back and read the comment. And actually, I need to turn mine on. I haven't turned that thing on since I reviewed it, just because I've been doing other stuff. But I need to turn it on and see what updates there are on it, and kind of, I guess, I don't know, maybe try to do an updated video if there's anything that's changed on it. But I've been meaning to do that actually the last couple of weeks. I just keep forgetting about it because I still have it. I literally haven't turned it on since maybe a couple of weeks after I reviewed it. Cheers, man. Everyone was saying the Cinerama chat. So Vern should watch The Creator, I think. Also, The Holdovers was a close fit, about 2.55 to 1, I think. So yeah, I saw a lot of people saying about the Creator. I have the Creator. If it's the new one that just came out like a couple months ago, I have that one. I really like that movie. It didn't do that well, but it's a good watch. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what that looks like on there. They had the Kevs at Audio Advice Live. Yeah, they invited me to go last year, but it was right after. It was like a couple weeks after I got back from M-Wave. And like I said, I do have a full-time job, and I have very, very good vacation. But I was like, that's kind of. They reached out to me literally like right when I got, or either right before or right after I got back, and I was like, I just came back from vacation. Probably should wait, just because I don't want to be that dude and be like, hey, I'm going on vacation again. Sorry, guys, because we have to have a backup whenever we go on vacation. Probably wouldn't have been an issue, but because I had just gotten back from M-Wave, I decided, not to go. So maybe I'll go this year. I'm not sure. Let's see here. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, so Hisense. Hisense just announced a 110-inch. I think it's a mini LED TV, but 110 inches, 10,000 nits, 40,000 dimming zones, which is absolutely insane. 10,000 nits. That's ridiculous. And 110 inches. So I'm curious to see what the pricing is going to be like on that. I'm assuming their 100-inch that they announced last year at CEDIA, which was back in September, I believe that one was like $5,000, and I think you could get it even a little bit cheaper. So at 110 inches with those specs, I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more than that. I'm thinking around maybe 10,000. Maybe even more. I'm not sure, but I watched the press. I wasn't able to go. They invited me to go to their press event, and unfortunately I wasn't able to go to CES, but they did send me a link, so I was able to watch their whole Hisense press thing. They talked about like other stuff too, but I thought that was interesting. And then TCL has like a 115-inch TV. I think also that's mini LED. So we're starting to see like these massive TVs, and there's been some discussion, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on it, because I know I've been talking to Shane and some other people, but Shane's like, man, I need if those prices come down, like people are going to start ditching their projectors. And I'm like, man, I don't know though, because like if you go 110 inches is pretty big. And I'm assuming that's probably either going to be like fill up most people's walls, like your average person's like home. It's either going to fill up the wall, or it's going to be too big to where you can't even fit that in like, your theater. But even if you like the just video walls, like the video wall stuff where it's modular, you can fill up your whole wall. My thing is, where do you put your speakers? Because if your whole wall is taken up, now you don't have any room to put your speakers. You can't put them behind the screen because it's not transparent. So you either have to have like a massive room to where you can fit a 110 inch and still have room to put speakers on the side and below your TV. Don't put them above your TV. Like, don't do that. That bugs me when I see that. And I know I'm not trying to say anything, because I know everyone's situation is different and people are limited. But if you can, don't put your speaker above your screen. Like, that's just not optimal. But again, yeah, like TVs are starting to get to the size where projectors, I mean, I don't know what the average projector screen size is. Mine is 100 inches. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I could put a 100-inch TV in right where my screen is, because I have my speakers to the left and right, and my center channel is like less than an inch between the top of my speaker and the velvet on my screen for the overlap. So I could do it, but then I'm like, everybody doesn't have that situation. Or if you want to go bigger, if you want to go 110 inch, or if you want to go the just video wall route where you fill up your whole wall, like, now where do you put your speakers? So me personally, I think projectors are still going to have their place, even as these TVs can continue to be bigger and bigger unless they find some kind of way that you can put your speakers behind a screen like that. And I don't see how they could do that without compromising on the video quality. I don't know. What do you guys think? The massive Hisense was a lot more of an exciting TV to me than those ridiculous transparent ones. Yeah. So yeah, you're talking about I believe the LG like transparent OLED. That's like a super, super, super niche product. And I think they even said it in the video. Like, is this for everybody? No. I don't know who it's for. I guess if you're just filthy rich and you want something that's so unique and so niche that nobody else has. I mean, it's one of those things I feel like would be cool for like the first couple days, maybe a week, where people come over and like, hey, check this out, I can do this. Then after that, I feel like it would be kind of just like, okay, what's the point of this? I mean, it still looks cool, and I didn't get to see it in person. So I don't know how it actually looks when that black screen is raised up. I think that's interesting that it's still an OLED, but yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, LG is always doing stuff like that at CES. Like they're always coming out with something at CES that nobody has or that nobody's thought of. Where you're like, wow, that's really cool. I think the wireless, the whole wireless TV thing is really cool. But like that, a transparent, like your average consumer's not buying that. You probably won't see very many of those out in the wild. Michael Fetty says, hey man, great content lately. Been following you for a while and you're doing great stuff. Thank you, man. I greatly, greatly appreciate the support. And hearing comments like that is very rewarding. Like I'm always trying to improve the quality of my content, and I feel like I'm continuing to improve, and I'm still learning. I still watch all the other channels that I was watching before I was on YouTube, and I try to learn from them, maybe take a little bit from them and kind of do my own thing. But I appreciate that, man. I'm sure there's an indefinable special beauty to a reflected image that a direct image just doesn't have. Also, I know I couldn't physically maneuver 110. Yeah, that's another thing. I'd be scared that thing would break, man. Like, can you imagine like trying to maneuver that thing around? I mean, once you get it on your wall, then I'd be like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. But trying to get that thing in your house, get it unboxed, that's not a one person. You can't do that by yourself. So unless you have someone come over and help you, or I guess your wife, which I mean, I don't know how heavy those TVs are, but man, yeah, I think I would be like extremely paranoid that something would happen to that TV before I was able to mount it. Because if you drop it, or even if you don't drop it, if you get it and you open it and it's got a crack, like now you got to send it back. And that sounds like a whole situation that I don't want to deal with. So yeah, that's a good point. For now, I'm considering transparent TVs to be the new curved TV. I forgot about those, man. Those things did not last very long. So yeah, like I said, you're not gonna see many of those out in the wild. I don't know who that's for, and I don't know how much it costs to manufacture those, but I assume you're just not gonna see those. Great content. I need to learn from you. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I believe Brian, I'm looking at, yeah. So Brian, I just found his channel. He just started a YouTube channel, not too long ago, I guess. But he has a video up on there where he's talking about his theater. Beautiful, beautiful theater. But yeah, I think he was saying that he's just getting started. So go check out his channel, because he's got an open format, a floor plan. But man, he did a great job. Like I was watching the video, I was like, man, this looks really, really nice. You did a really good job with, what you're your space. I think in the video he said I think he has a basement, but he opted to do like a family room because, you know, the family and everything. So, but yeah, man, I would love to see like an extensive tour. He does have a tour. He did it on his phone, but man, beautiful. My theater doesn't look like that. Like, that's the thing about my theater. It's not aesthetically pleasing. I am improving it, and there are some things that I want to improve, but I opted to just do a lot of this stuff myself to save money because I live by myself. I'm not married, so I only have one income. But it may not look as good, and it may not look as nice, but I care much more about functionality than the aesthetics. And friends and family come over, they never say anything. Like, I notice stuff where I'm like, wow, I did a really bad job on that. Like, but again, I'm doing it myself. If someone else is doing it professionally, then I would be like, hey man, like, this needs to look like top notch. But thank you, Brian. What's up, Ike? Ike just had a live stream yesterday where he's doing a week on a weekly basis. I think he's up to what, 8 or 9 streams now. So good to see you posting more, man, doing more stuff on YouTube. Go check out his channel as well. Easy Home Theater Tech. He just had Youthman on yesterday on his channel. So I met Ike at Cedia in 2022 with he was running around with Youthman and Brad, Home Theater Gamer. So good dude. What's your favorite AV piece you have right now? Probably going to be the Emotiva RMC one. Like, no hesitation. Like, I just am getting into playing with the Kaleidoscape, but as far as like, and I love my Arndal speakers, but as far as audio, and it's a toss up between Arndal and Emotiva. I would say right now it would be the Emotiva, just because, I mean, you have to have something to play to be able to use your speakers with. And Arndal sounded good before on my Anthem MRX 720 receiver, but when I got the RMC1, I was like, oh my goodness, like taking the next leap from a receiver to a processor. Like, I love the RMC1. Even with all its quirks, it sounds amazing. And I'm going to reiterate, I still haven't run Dirac on it. I'm still running it out of the box. So that tells you how good it sounds. I am going to do it at some point, but it's just like, I just haven't done it yet. I should have done it when I was off in December, but I am going to do it at some point. But I'm like, it sounds that good out of the box. And I know some people are going to say, oh, it's not as good as, you know, a Storm or a Trinov, which it probably isn't. But I feel like when you consider the price gap, you're probably talking about diminishing returns at that point. Like, the Trinov can do some stuff that nobody else is doing. So, you know, in that respect, like, it's still pretty much leaps and bounds. But I have heard Trinov, like, in other people's theaters, and it sounds amazing. The RMC1 does not sound like, I'm not saying that it sounds just like it, but I feel like for the price and for what it offers and how it sounds, and the fact that you can upgrade it, when that actually happens, it's supposed to happen this year. Finally, we'll see if it comes to fruition. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it sounds. Like, I can't go back. I can only, you know, go forward, which would be the Trinov, and that's not happening anytime soon. So I'm very happy with the RMC1. Brian says Ace of Base. Yes, that's right, Ace of Base. Yeah, I was like, I don't think his YouTube channel is called Brian, but Ace of Base Home Theater is his channel. Says, thanks, brother. I appreciate you. I did a family room setup. It's all about all of us enjoying the hobby. Yeah, so that's one of the things that, and you're welcome, by the way. That's one of the things that everybody has different needs. Everybody has different needs, different circumstances, different setups. So, yeah. You know, that's really cool and admirable that you decided to, because you could have easily said, you know what, I'm just going to make this room for me, or maybe even his family would have still used it, but he decided to go something that's more family, sitting around the family. So that's really cool, man. And again, go check it out. Ace of Base is his home theater channel. He's just getting started. He's only got a couple videos on there, but excellent job. Like, I was watching it and I was like, man, I wish my theater looked this nice. Like, it's very clean. You know, he did he's got the acoustic treatment. Like, he did it right. It looks the only reason you know that it's an open floor plan is because he shows you and you see it. But other than that, I would think that that's like a dedicated room. So, yeah, go check out his channel, Ace of Base. Yeah, man. And if it's mainly just you in the room, looks don't matter the most. Yeah, I forget about it. The only time I notice anything is when I'm doing something, like I have the lights on or I'm not using the theater, like watching. If I'm like filming or if I'm, just doing something else other than watching a movie in there, and I'll look at it, I'm like, man, I wish I really would have done a better job on that. Because there's some things where I did where like I made an accent wall, but I didn't paint first. Like, you're supposed to, at least the way I did it was, you're supposed to paint the wall black and then put up the accent walls, the panels. I didn't do that. And you really can't tell unless you get right up and there's like, if you see a little gap, there's white behind it, but you really can't tell. And then one of the walls that's adjacent to it, I should have painted it first and then put the panels up. So, cause now the issue I have is where the panels at the corner, I can't get behind the panel to paint. So I ended up getting some paint on, like, there's little stuff like that where I'm like, I'm a dummy. I should have done this better, but you live and you learn. And again, it's not a big deal. I don't really care that much. And the only thing that would matter is if I was to like move and sell a house, then someone would probably look at this and be like, what is this? But that's not happening anytime soon. I don't plan on doing that, but yeah. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, man. It's a community, man. We got to help each other out. Is that Ike with the Sound of Music poster from Youthman's video? I love that guy. Well, that is Ike from Youthman's video. Probably, I don't know about the Sound of Music poster. Do you have a Sound of Music poster in your theater? But yeah, that's the same Ike. It says, yep, it is. I don't remember seeing that was that in the tour? Are you a basshead? Just curious. Yes, not on your level. Let's go ahead and clear that up right now. I don't have, like, yes, I am, but also no, just because I've never had access to the stuff that I have now. So before I think when I first started, I had like one subwoofer. It was a Shure subwoofer. And then I didn't get a second sub until a couple years after I moved here. And that was the SVS PC2000, the cylinder sub. Like the first one without the app. I still have it. So now that I've got a couple subwoofers in my theater and I've been playing around with it, and yeah, like now that I'm experiencing it in my own setup, I'm like, oh man, this is pretty sweet. So, like I said, I have if you weren't here when the live stream first started, I have a SW15P from Stark Sound, 15-inch ported that they sent me. They're sending me another one that's coming tomorrow. I need to do a review with two of them, so dual. But I also have the SW15, the sealed version. I requested another one, so they're supposed to send me one, I think, next month. My goal is to have 4 subwoofers up front. So, because like I said, I have a budget and I'm living by myself, I'm going to do 4 SW15 sealeds up front. And then I'm going to take my PB4000 and I'm going to just seal all the ports so that it's sealed. And then I have the PC2000, which I'll probably get like a mini DSP, and at some point I'll probably upgrade that to something that's sealed because that one's ported and I don't have any other option. So I'll probably have to get a mini DSP. But man, having multiple subs in my theater, I'm becoming a basshead. So, but again, I'm not on your level, Scott. That's insane, like in a good way. I can't even imagine what that sounds like. Like I heard 818s at the JTR theater, and that was crazy. The home theater that I toured, that was wild. So I can't imagine having, what do you have, 18 inches? I can't even keep track now. I know I watched the last video with Youth Man, but yeah, I don't know if anybody's gonna beat you on that. Love My Sound of Music. So what's funny about that is, growing up, my mom and my dad used to watch that. And you know, as a kid growing up, like, I didn't like oldies, I didn't like musicals. I hated Sound of Music. I hated it. And I guess maybe I felt like maybe they just watched it a lot. And I mean, they kind of did. I hated it. And then as I got older, I don't remember what age I was. I got older and I watched it and I was like, this is a really good movie. And now I like some musicals. I don't like all of them. I don't like movies that where the whole movie is they're just singing constantly. I like movies where it's like they have dialogue for a little while and then they break out into song and then they have dialogue. Those I can tolerate. When it's just pure 100% singing, like, I can't do those. But yeah, Sound of Music is a good movie. That's a classic. And Julie Andrews, it's a shame that she lost her voice over that surgery because, man, she could sing. Ike, man, I can't tell you how much I love seeing that poster. I love the movie too, and so refreshing not to see an MCU poster. Ike says, thank you. Brian says, wow, thanks, man. I really appreciate that compliment. I'm totally humbled right now. I look up to you guys to build my channel. My goal is to bring people together, big or small budget, to enjoy this awesome hobby. Yeah, man, of course, man. Like, I'm still a small channel. Very, very small channel. And actually, I'm very, very, very extremely thankful that I have the opportunities that I have now. Because I don't think most people have the opportunities that I have at such a small channel. But I've really been fortunate to meet people like Chris, that home theater dude, Youth Man. I've been on Shane Lee's channel before. Like, I've gotten an opportunity to meet people. And that's also given me opportunity to meet other people in the industry, companies. Because when I first started, I had maybe 1,000 subscribers or less. I would reach out to companies and I would either get like just no response, or they'd just say like no, or they'd tell me, hey, we want to see more, either, more views on the channel or more subscribers. And I figured they would probably say no, but I still tried. And I know that was one thing that Michael, Youthman, told me. He's like, you'll never know unless you try. So yeah, man, like, I don't ever forget where I came from. Like, people have helped me. So if I can help somebody else that's trying to get started, then I'm going to try to help. And again, it's a community. That's one thing I love about the home theater community, is that we all love the same thing. Even though we might have different gear, different setups, we all have the same passion. No matter where you're at, if you're just getting started, if you've been in this thing for 10 years, 15 years, like I have, it's a journey, and it's fun, and it's enjoyable to see people's journey. That's why I was saying before, like, I don't get the person that commented where it's like, oh, you left my price range a long time ago, I'm unsubscribing. Like, okay, that's not very supportive for the community. I want to see all of it, and I enjoy seeing all of it. But yeah, man, I look forward to seeing your channel grow, and we're all still growing, man. It's a learning process. When I first started my YouTube channel, I did not know a single thing about cameras. I didn't know anything about lighting, microphones, audio, filming, editing. I didn't know any of that stuff. And my best friend was a photographer. And I vividly remember he would try to talk to me about photography and cameras and stuff. And I was like, dude, I don't care. But first of all, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about ISO, white balance, all this. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care. I didn't say that to him, but I was like, I don't care to talk about this stuff. So now I kind of understand it, because like when my friends come over, they love to come over and watch movies in my theater. But if I try to talk to them about home theater, they're like, what are you, like, I get a glaze. Like, so it's refreshing when I can talk to other people, even if it's, online on YouTube. But yeah, man, it's a journey. It's a process. Don't feel bad. Cause I know you mentioned in your videos that like you're just getting started. Don't feel bad. Cause I can barely go back and watch my first videos, man. It's pretty rough. It's one of my acoustic panel designs. Nice. Scott says, nice, man. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to get the setup that I want with the bass. Like right now, I'm really enjoying the bass. Again, if you guys haven't seen Gran Turismo, that movie has a ton of bass on it. Like I was surprised. And so that was another thing I was going to mention about the Kaleidoscape. And I know like Kaleidoscape's divisive or whatever, but I don't have the Blu-ray to compare it to. But I have heard people say that the audio on the Kaleidoscape can sound better sometimes because there's like when the file size is bigger, there's more data there. I would be interested to hear that on to compare it. But so far the audio on the Kaleidoscape I'm enjoying it. It's really nice. But that movie has a ton of deep bass on it and it's very, very clean. So if you haven't watched it's a good movie too. Ike, we need a 4K of that movie. I'm actually surprised that they don't. Like so speaking about how much I used to hate The Sound of Music, I think I bought that movie after I moved into this house. Like I own it. But yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been a 4K, but that movie is old. I don't know that they could do very much to it to restore it. Like you wouldn't get like multi-channel audio on it because they'd have to like remix it. So and it's so old. I mean, they might be able to improve the colors a little bit, but I feel like it's so old. I don't know that there's much that they could do to it to warrant like a 4K Blu-ray release. Scott is on a different level. Yeah. Yeah, I always see the reactions of people on his home theater tours. And I'm like, man, what does it sound like in there? It's got to be crazy. Let's see. So why do you want to go sealed over ported subs? So I've always been a ported guy. I like the ported, but so the reason why I would go sealed is because you're not supposed to mix sealed and ported, and there's a whole list of reasons why. I think a lot of it is like time alignment and phase and stuff like that. It can get really technical, but since I want to go with more subs, and the Stark Sound subs are very affordable. They did gift me a couple of the subs, so they're 15 inches, which those are bigger drivers than the PB4000. Obviously, those things aren't gonna smoke a PB4000, even though the PB4000 is like 13.5-inch drivers. But I want more subs, and one of the weaknesses in my theater is even though I have a sub up front, it doesn't hit like it does when I'm sitting in the back row. So I want more distributed bass throughout the room. And since I have access to the 15-inch and they're relatively cheap, I want to go with 4 subs up front, and those are sealed. So I don't really want to mix them, ported versus sealed. And since I have the ability to seal the PB4000, that's why I would go sealed. So not necessarily where I prefer sealed. I just kind of want everything to be as unified as possible. And like I said, if I end up keeping the SVS PC2000, which I probably will, that one's ported. Like I can't seal it, so I would have to get a mini DSP so that all of them are working together. But that's basically the reason why. Have you tried any products lately that have let you down? I don't think so. Yeah, I haven't really been disappointed with anything. That could change, though. I mean, I don't know what's in store for this year as far as reviews, but yeah, I don't really think I mean, there's been things that I reviewed where I'm like, okay, I prefer this better, but to actually review, if I've actually reviewed something where I'm like, this is trash, like, no, that hasn't happened. Sound of Music was years ahead of its time. I've seen it a million times. Damian Jackson. Hi, Jordan. How are you doing? I'm doing well. How are you doing, man? Appreciate you for tuning in. Any podcast collabs coming? Not that I know of, other than, oh, actually, yes. So I just don't know when it's going to happen. So I'm supposed to do a live stream with Stark Sound and one of their engineers, mainly to talk about like the SW15P, because they didn't really like, they kind of have like a soft launch. Like they didn't really promote it a whole lot. So I was like, hey, would somebody be willing to come, on the live stream talk about it? And they were like, yeah, we'll set that up. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but I know that Elon Osborne also has reviewed their 12-inch, the SW12, and he also has their Fiera 8 amplifier, which I'm also getting tomorrow. So I reached out to him last week and I was like, hey man, I know like you're really the only other content creator that I know that has reviewed it. And I asked him if he would be willing to come on the channel. He was like, yeah, let me know. So I do have a collab coming, and it'll be cool because I've talked to him just over like Instagram and stuff. So it'd be nice to get to have him on the channel. But other than that, I don't really have any collabs like any other content creators that anything planned. I can't wait to get to 1K subscribers so I can send all those emails. Yeah, go over and help Easy Home Theater Tech. He's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, I mean, you can still send. I mean, you've gotten stuff from SVS and some other companies going to. That was one thing that I did early on. I was like, I need to start going to some of these shows and making contacts, and like I said, some companies won't even pay attention to you unless you have either a certain amount of subscriber counts, or sometimes they'll ask for analytics because they want to see. Which it makes sense, like from a business standpoint, like they want as much eyes on a product as possible. So I get it, and I knew early on when I was reaching out when I had very little subscribers, which I still have very little subscribers, but I think when I had like 1,000 or maybe even less than that, I knew most companies probably weren't going to send me anything, but I still wanted to try. But one thing that I found though is, even if you don't have a whole lot of subscribers, like me, I haven't even hit 10,000 yet. If you can make good quality videos and content where the companies can see your portfolio and you can improve, they'll send you stuff. I think most companies are starting to realize now that you don't have to have, 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers. There's some channels that I follow where they don't have very many subscribers, but I'm like, man, the quality on these videos are just insane, and they're doing it themselves. So, but yeah, some companies just want a certain amount of eyeballs, and that's why like I want to get to 10,000, because that helps also the algorithm. When you have more subscribers and when you put a video out, you get more eyes initially, and the more views you get initially within that first, really the first 24 hours, but 24 to 48, when the algorithm sees that people are watching your videos more and more and they're commenting and the engagement is really high, after that 24 hours, they can say, oh, okay, the algorithm goes, oh, people really like this video. Let me push it out to even more people. So that's one of the things like where I really want to hit 10,000. You're right, though. You have to reach out and try. The worst they can say is no. Yeah, I mean, I've reached out to companies multiple times. I've gotten no response, or they'll say like, "Hey, we don't send out review units," and I'm like, I just watched a video of one of your products from another content creator, so whatever though. I would collab if you wanted. Yeah, man, we'll have to do that sometime. We'll have to set that up. I'll get in touch with you. Scott Newby is my guy. He has really given me inspiration to start a channel. I love your content also, and I will support you always. Youth Man is absolute inspiration also. YouTube is very hard to learn. Feel free to reach out and give me some tips. I definitely need help. Yeah, man, I'll do that. Might even try to get you on the channel at some point. YouTube is very. I'll say, if you're technically if you're tech savvy or if you're technically inclined, it's not that hard. The hardest thing for me was learning how to edit, and I'm still learning how to edit. I've got everybody has their own editing style, and I mean, I'm sure you see that, but that's probably the hardest thing, because I started out on my phone. I don't even remember what iPhone I had, but I started out on my phone. And once I decided that I was just going to do it, I was like, I know the quality of my videos is not going to be that great for a while, but I'm just going to get started, because that's the only way that you're going to learn. If you just wait until you get a better camera, a better microphone, better lighting, you're just going to keep waiting. You're just going to keep procrastinating. And yeah, like I look at some of my old videos and I'm like, wow, this lighting is horrible, or the microphone is like, and there's still stuff that happens. I mean, that video I did, the home theater tour with the clips set up, the second half of that video, for me, it's so cringe for me to, like, it was cringe for me to edit that, because that wasn't supposed to happen. I still don't know what happened. I know what happened with the camera and why it was out of focus, because I was at an angle, and I think the depth, like I should have changed the aperture. But the audio, I don't know what happened with that. And that just, it was super irritating for me to even just to edit that. But so stuff like that happens too. But just take your time, man. And like you'll get better, you'll learn. I did so much research. And the thing about YouTube is you have access to everything. Like I learned a lot about cameras and lighting and different stuff like that on YouTube. So, but yeah, man, we're all here to help. Hope all is well, brother. Doing well. You? So, what's up, Chris? No CES wrap up? I wasn't there, man. I mean, I kind of talked about a couple products, but I'm supposed to do I think we're supposed to do that together, right? Even though I wasn't there. Did you get back yet, or are you still in Vegas? So Chris was there. And Chris has been a huge help, humongous help for me. So the first time I met Chris was, we both went to Emotiva's Texas Audio Roundup, which they only had one of those. That was in 2022. And I was there, so we missed each other. I think he was either there the day before or the day after. But I had commented on one of his videos, and I was like, hey, man, like I was there in Austin too. I missed you. And he was like, oh, okay. And somehow we started chatting on like one of his videos or something like that. And he was like, are you in Houston? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, we should try to, get together and collaborate or something. So after maybe, I think it was a while after that, we got together, we met up. Dude didn't know me, first time meeting me. And we started talking about Cedia, and he's like, are you going to Cedia? And I was like, nah, man, I don't have any connections. Like, I can't go. And he's like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I want to go. And so he was going with, I think, his company or something. But he basically like got me in for free. Didn't know me. Like I said, first time meeting me. So, man, Chris has helped me out a lot. We've done a bunch of videos together, collaborated, done some stuff at the Grid Hi-Fi here in around the Houston area. I've got to check out his system that he had before. He's got a new system that he's going to be installing in. So when he does that, I am supposed to, my Raspberry Pi is acting up. So when he gets his new theater set up, I'm supposed to film that as well. But yeah, Chris just went to CES. He's posted some videos on there. I think we're supposed to do a live stream talking about, I guess, kind of a wrap up. Again, I wasn't able to go this year, but appreciate you, Chris. So Chris, he's back. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but my Raspberry Pi is going crazy right now. It's really weird. I don't know what's happening. I think I'm going to turn it off. Let's see. But yeah, I did talk about a couple things, the Hisense and the TCL and the SVS. So Chris actually shot a video with SVS. I've been trying to get to the Kaleidoscape Strato system for a while now, but now I feel like I've already known a little bit too much on how to do all the work when it comes to DIY and everything. So what I will say about that is if you want convenience, there's absolutely no, it's not even close. Like Kaleidoscape is the way to go. If you take the price out of it, which I know that's hard to do because it's expensive, it's not cheap, but if you're looking to get away from the DIY stuff and you want convenience, it's flawless. And it's a pretty incredible product. There's a reason why every single company uses Kaleidoscape at shows like CDA, CES, like everybody uses Kaleidoscape. There's a reason. They don't just do it because like it's hard to describe if you've seen it or if you haven't seen it, if you haven't experienced it. And it's just a different beast. Now, again, it's not cheap. So the argument is totally valid if someone says that's just way out of my budget. 100% agree with you. It is not cheap. It's very expensive. And again, if you want to upgrade the hard drive, the pricing is pretty much astronomical, but it's a great product. And it's super, once you get into that ecosystem, it's so stressless. Like, thinking about discs is you got to buy the disc, and then you got to rip it, then you got to store that disc somewhere, and then you got to put the media on a hard drive somewhere. So now you've got to have, hard drives, however big your library is. If you've got 500, 1,000, 1,500, I mean, I've heard of people having like 8,000 discs. That's a lot of storage, and that gets expensive. Then you got to worry about backup. If you do that, if your hard drive fails or it dies, you've got to re-rip all that content again, unless you've got it, like a RAID system or something like that. So yeah, but I get it, man. The Kaleidoscape is not. It's a heavy decision. I like a good old fashioned hard lunch. What's your opinion on Klipsch Reference Premier line of speakers? I don't think I've heard Klipsch Premier. Was the Home Theater Tour Premier? I don't remember if those were Premier or not. I mean, like, they're good. I mean, they've been around for a long time. They've got some really good products. I've heard a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people don't. Some people don't like the horn sound. Sometimes it can be. So I have heard clips where sometimes it can be a little bit harsh. But I mean, I had a pair of Klipsch speakers for about a year and a half that I bought that was on sale. I think during like Black Friday. They were being used as my rear surround, so they didn't really get utilized as much as they would like for like a left and right. But I mean, they're good. But I don't know if I've ever heard like their Premier line of speakers. Beating Sibbett says, Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Elon Osborne has an excellent channel too. U.S. guys are great at this. Here in the UK, there doesn't feel like that same type of community. Yeah, I was watching Elon Osborne too before I got on YouTube. I was watching Elon. I was watching Chris, that home theater dude. I was watching Youth Man. I was watching Shane Lee. Like, I was watching all those channels. So it's really cool to be on the other side of it now where I can collaborate with these guys. And everyone's been super helpful, man. Like, everyone tries to help you. They want you to grow. Like, not one of those guys that I've worked with have they been like, you know what, I'm going to keep this information to myself because I want to be the only one successful on YouTube. Hasn't been like that at all. Everyone's opened their arms. Excuse me. Everyone has opened their arms and helped and given me advice. And yeah, man, it's a really cool community. But I've heard a couple people say that about the UK. Like, I guess home theater, or I guess just maybe the community is not as big as it is over here in the US. I don't know why that is. It was shot on Mitchell BNC camera 35. I guess he's talking about the Sound of Music. Is there a special 10K club? Not that I know of, but from what I've heard, and I've heard this from multiple sources, even though 10K is like, in the grand scheme of things on YouTube, there's not that much. But from what I understand, a lot of people give up long before then. And even when you get to 10K, you're still in like this upper echelon where the majority of YouTubers, when you look at the amount of people that are on YouTube, majority of people don't even get to 10,000 either because they give up or they quit because it's, I was hoping I would reach 10K long before where I'm at now. And like I said, I can't control whether people subscribe or not. I just know that when I look at the views per month and I'm doing 100K a month, 100,000 views a month, I feel like that's a big discrepancy. But again, I can't control that. All I could do is keep trying to make the best content that I can and post it. And, sometimes it takes a while for others and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, if you look at Caleb from Digital Trends, he just started his YouTube channel a couple weeks ago and he's already at like 10,000, which it makes sense because he's got a bigger audience on Digital Trends. So a lot of those people can come over there. But I mean, yeah, YouTube is very interesting with that. Like I've seen some people that have grown very fast. I've seen people that maybe their content isn't that great, but they're growing. And then I've seen other people where I'm like, this channel is awesome. This person's awesome. Their video and audio quality is amazing and they don't grow very fast. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. But to answer your question, there is not a special 10K club. That's like one of the first, probably the first big milestone after 1,000. Because once you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, then you're eligible to start making, like YouTube will actually pay you. But 10K is really like the first major milestone. And like I said, apparently most YouTubers don't even get there because they give up. Brian says, I would love to do a podcast together. Oh man, editing is a big learning curve for me. I'm using CapCut Pro on my phone, by the way. CapCut's good. I actually used that a couple times. Actually, Youthman showed me that. I didn't know about it until M-Wave. And for quick content, like if you want to just shoot something on your phone and edit, it's awesome. You can do everything on your phone. Like I said, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was using my phone just because that was the camera that I had access to. But the workflow is just absolutely horrible, at least for me. Like having to get the videos off of my phone. I didn't have a Mac computer at the time. I was using a Windows computer to edit on, which that took forever. It was a computer that I built, but it wasn't built for editing like videos. So I had to figure out a way to get the video off of my phone. And then what I was doing was I started airplaying the video to my iPad because I had, I forget what the editing software is on iPad, but I was doing that and then editing on my iPad. But then sometimes the file would be too big and I couldn't airdrop it. So I had to figure out, like, after a while, I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm investing in a camera and I'm just going to get a good camera. I mean, that was my goal anyway. But yeah, if you're just starting out and all you have is your phone, use your phone. If that's going to help you to get started, do that. But I would highly encourage you to get, like, eventually upgrade, get a camera, because the whole process is just like, I see people on YouTube that are like doing stuff, they have the van life and stuff and they're traveling and I can tell they're using their phone and I'm like, how are they doing this, man? Like, how are they still doing this? Because that workflow I hated that workflow. But yeah, man, we'll do something together sometime. Croson says, with any task, I generally say, use the tools you have until you reach their limitations. You will then know what you need to invest in. You don't learn how to golf with the 10,000 driver and putter. Yeah, I would agree, man. Like, I learned so much just by starting out with what I had. And then that also, like, because I would see, I would watch other channels and I'm like, man, their audio, like, how do they get that quality? And then I was like, oh, they're not using their phone. Like, they're using, you know, a mirrorless camera or a DSLR, or, man, their audio is really crisp. Like, how do I get my audio like that? You start doing research, you start learning, you start looking up other, like, YouTube is so useful because it's like, yes, I'm on the platform, but I'm also can still research stuff about the stuff that I'm doing on YouTube. Like, YouTube is use YouTube, man. Like, do research. Like, you can find pretty much anything on YouTube. It's crazy. I'm home, homie. Got my new system in the work van right now. Nice. So, yeah, I think me and Chris are supposed to do a CES live stream afterwards. Maybe next week. I got to get with you on that. But man, yeah, so he's got his new system. It's going to be pretty toy. So, interested to see what that's going to see and hear what that's going to sound like. And like I said, I was supposed to film that too. See, what time is it? I need to get something to eat. Let me go through these comments. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? I think that was it. Please make sure you like the video. Let me go through some more of these comments. CES sucked. You didn't miss anything. I will say last year, it seemed like I didn't see as many videos as I thought I would see. And I guess because last year it was like the first major CES after COVID. So, you know, there was a lot of things that I guess people didn't get to show the previous shows during COVID. But, yeah, it doesn't look like it was as many innovative things as there was last year when I went. Them new SVS sounded great. I'm working with them to get a launch event here in Houston. Cool. I'd be interested in being a part of that. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, Chris works, he's the GM at the Grid Hi-Fi. You may have seen some videos on my channel and on his channel. And there's also a YouTube Grid Hi-Fi channel, but Grid Hi-Fi is about 40 minutes for me. So they've got some really cool stuff over there. Go check them out. gridhifi.com. The Sony 5000 ES that I reviewed, got that from the Grid Hi-Fi, the Epson LS12000 from there. So yeah, they got some really cool stuff, man. They can pretty much get you anything that you want, and they don't just ship in Houston. Like, those, I believe they ship pretty much all over the country, I think. Good to hear about the new SVS. They look amazing. Hope they sound as good as they look. Yeah, me too. So long, Eskendo. I don't miss it. So yeah, he had a complete Eskendo system before. I got to hear it right before he got rid of it. It was pretty nice. And he had that 50-inch, which I helped him move in there. But all that stuff is gone now, and he's going with Pro Audio, I believe, right? Okay, gotta watch Reacher. Peace out. Give me a call, Holmes. Just watched that the other day. Yesterday? Good stuff. Yeah, I'll get with you, man. I know you would like those SVS speakers. If you know, you know. Mac Pro and Canon camera is in my future plans. Please PM me and let me know what can help me do better. Yeah, I'll get with you, man. I've got some. My weekend's probably pretty full this weekend, but yeah, I'll reach out to you somehow. I don't know if you have your email on your YouTube info. If not, I'll just comment on one of your videos or something. But yeah, man, that's a good upgrade. Mac. I'm running so that was another thing. Once I got my camera and I was like trying to edit on my Windows computer, that took forever, and I was like, this is taking too long. So I got a MacBook Pro. So I have that, and then last year I wanted something with more ports because I was like, I need more inputs for hard drives and stuff. So I got the Mac Studio, and I'm using my MacBook right now because for some reason I can't use StreamYard on my Mac Studio for whatever reason. I think once I upgraded to the newest operating system, it blocked my camera. So thankfully I hadn't updated my MacBook yet, and I'm actually using that right now because I really don't use it that much anymore. I do use it when I travel, when I go to shows and stuff. But yeah, you will. Canons are legit. I had a Canon R10 last year when I went to CES, and I returned it because I got the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II. But yeah, I would say don't rush though. Like, do it when you can. I don't know what your funds are like. I know you got a family and kids and stuff like that, so I'm sure that's a lot of money to invest in. But I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep posting, man. You're gonna get better, and it's gonna, once you able to get like a Mac and a Canon, you'll be able to appreciate that more. Because I know when I first started out with all this stuff, I just had my phone, and I had upgraded to, or I bought like some couple janky lights. Like, it's interesting. You learn a lot with less, and then you continue to learn when you upgrade your gear. But yeah, Triad and GSG are absolutely amazing. Steven Smith is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm subscribed to his channel too. Kevin Sorkin from GSG is incredible. Brandon Hills is an amazing at calibration. These guys need to be put on a high pedestal. Yeah, I've never heard Triad. I have heard GSG. I've heard GSG. No, I'm thinking of Dayton Audio. But yeah, good stuff, man. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I didn't realize it's been over 2 hours. I gotta get something to eat. I actually need to run to my parents too. But thank you to everybody that tuned in live. I don't know if I'm going to do another live stream this month. There may be another one. It just depends. I don't know when I'm going to do the live stream with Stark Sound. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Really enjoy the community. And I look forward to hopefully doing a lot more home theater tours this year. Those are really fun. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, and I enjoy doing it. And I know, most people enjoy seeing them. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Friday evening. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.